Okay, one of the most important tools that Blackboard offers you, and one of the most widely used, is the Grade Center. It's the it's essentially just a web-based spreadsheet where you can keep track of your student performance. So and communicate it to your students. So if you keep track of attendance grades there, or if you have assignments and things that they've submitted, their grades are visible to them through their particular view of the Grade Center. But let's take a look at what the Grade Center looks like to an instructor. In Blackboard 9.1, it's got its own button on the control panel. So you just click Grade Center, and there's two different views. You can choose the view that will just show you assignments that are pending your review, things that need grading, or you can look at the full Grade Center. For our purposes, we're just going to look at that, since the needs grading one is a little bit more of a power user feature. So let's take a look at our Grade Center, which for this course and its large enrollment is kind of an impressive looking thing. The Grade Center's pretty simple, really. It's just a spreadsheet. It's got some bells and whistles on it. You can adjust the way it's presented to you, but for the most part it's pretty straightforward. It's just kind of finicky, like a lot of Blackboard tools. So users are listed here in these first two columns by last name, and then you can everything else for the most part you can customize. Like these are every column over here corresponds to an assignment or a piece of information that I want displayed. For instance, the last time they accessed the course, their grades on a particular assignment. Of note, something that's really pretty important is this button here. It's pretty unobtrusive and it's not great visual design, but it's right here and it's really important, is the icon legend. If you click on that, it gives you a key, sort of a visual key that you can look at and say, oh, this is what all of these symbols mean. The one that you'll see most frequently probably is the needs grading one and the override one. So needs grading indicates, obviously, that a submission has been made, perhaps via the assignment tool or the quiz tool, the quiz or test tool, and that you need to take a look at that student's attempt and give it a grade. The override indicates that an instructor has just simply typed a grade into this part of the spreadsheet. For instance, if I want to change Brendan Aberton's score on this, I just click here and I'm going to give him a 25 instead. And I just hit enter, and then you've got that little orange triangle in the corner that indicates that the grade that was there originally was overridden. You can take a look at that icon legend yourself, and we're more than willing to break it down for you if you wanted to schedule an ETMO consultation. Okay, something that is kind of helpful when you're looking in the Grade Center is this little button over here, which technically isn't part of the Grade Center, but it's most useful when you're working in it. It's the Hide Course Menu button, and you click it, and your course menu is hidden. Now, I occasionally get a call from a panicked instructor. My Blackboard site is broken. I can't get anywhere. I'm stuck. My course navigation is gone. Well, don't panic. You can just click that again to bring it back. That just gives you a little bit more horizontal space to work with, which can be really nice when you're working on a spreadsheet. So don't panic if that happens. So these are all the example columns that we've got. This is just really pretty straightforward. You can organize the columns that you've got under the Manage little menu here. You have the column organization option. So if you click on that, this gives you a way of organizing the columns that are visible to you slightly differently. So this, if anything that you want to drag up there, is visible no matter which type of view you're looking at your Grade Center. And down here, you can reorder different assignments. So if you want assignment 1 to be all the way here at the bottom, or which would actually correspond to all the way over there on the right, whatever you're wanting to look at first should be towards the top because that'll be towards the left of your grade center when you're looking at it yourself. So you can scroll down here and click on Submit to save any changes that you've made. Another thing that might potentially trip you up is hiding and showing columns. So if I click on this little double down arrow to get the contextual menu here, I can show or hide this column to my users, or I can hide the column to myself. Now you might be asking, well, why would I want to hide it from myself? Used to, there was only the option for hide column, and people would think that they were, hiding the column from their users because that frankly made sense. But if you hide the column with this option, it hides it from you. And you can get it back under the Manage button, and if you go back to column organization, you can get it back. But if you're just tired of looking at it, if it was the first assignment in a 16-week course and you don't need it, if you just don't need to look at it anymore or scroll past it anymore, you can hide that. You can also show or hide it from your users. Now if you click on Show Hide from Users, it puts this little symbol up here, which you'll note in the icon legend means the column is not visible to users. So that's your clue. If your students are saying, well, I can't see my grade on test 1, well, it may be that you may have inadvertently hidden it from your users, and you just go back to the contextual menu and click that option again, and now it should be visible. Now, what would the clue be for knowing that you've hidden it from yourself? Well, you won't be able to see it. If you don't see it and you feel like you ought to, you can go back under Manage and you can click column organization and check that out again. Okay, so that's a basic introduction to columns. Now, if you want, you can also use this to download a collection of all of the assignments that in a particular column that students have submitted. So let's go over here to assignment number 1. If I click the little double down arrow at the head of that column, then I can come down here and choose Assignment File Download. And what that will do is package a zip archive of all of the attempts for that assignment, and I'll just download the whole shebang. I can read through them on my own, and then later go down this column and give everybody a score for their paper that they submitted, or their assignment that they submitted, not necessarily a paper. Of interest to some is the Work Offline button, which allows you to download a copy of your Grade Center as an Excel spreadsheet. Well, it's actually a comma-separated values file, and you can open that in any spreadsheet program. A common one is Excel, and you just choose Download, and it downloads it for you. And then you can enter grades and stuff yourself, and then when you're done, you would upload that same file through this button. And if you'd like really white glove service with some training on how to use that sort of functionality, ETMO is glad to help you out with that. So let's take another look at our blank Blackboard course, and let's go ahead and add a column to the Grade Center. So let's go down here to Grade Center, Full Grade Center. Now I don't actually have any students in this blank course, which is to be expected because it's a blank course. So I'm going to go ahead and create a column. You can do that with the Create Column button. You just click it, and it brings you to this page where you fill out information about the column. For instance, if you wanted to create a column that just kept track of of participation grades, you might want to call it Participation. And then you can create a different display name for it, but I've chosen a pretty clear name for it, so I don't need to elucidate with the Grade Center display name. You can enter a description of it if you want to, but again, participation is pretty clear. There's a primary display and a secondary display. The primary display is the only thing that will show up to students. Their view of the Grade Center is called My Grades, and it only shows them their grades, like their own like their own row of the Grade Center. It doesn't show them everyone's, obviously. So the primary display, you have a few different options. It can be a score, which is a number, of a number of points out of a total number of available points. A letter grade, text if it's not necessarily, if it's like a, you gotta, if it's not a number, a numerical score. Percentage is just what it sounds like, or a complete incomplete, meaning check. You did it. Great. Again, the secondary display only shows up to you when you're looking at the Grade Center. It actually doesn't show up to your students. You can set up a category, but that's only for if you weight your grades. Not everyone does that, and that can get pretty tricky. I like to keep it simple. I like to make my grades out of just numeric total points. There are 1,000 points. You earned 900, therefore you got an A minus. That sort of thing. You can specify a due date if you want to, but as we've previously discussed, the due date doesn't actually affect anything. It labels anything entered after that due date as late, but this is actually a column that you have to update manually, so it doesn't have a whole lot of utility there. Scroll down a little bit and you have some options. The most important is probably include this column in Grade Center calculations. What that means is this is a column that actually contains a grade, its participation, and I may have forgotten to, points possible. I forgot that field there. That's very important. So let's say I have 50 participation points on my course. So I scroll down here. Let's pretend like I remembered that earlier. Include this column in Grade Center calculations. Click yes. That means this will influence a student's final grade. It will influence the total column. You can choose to show or hide this column from students, and the show statistics thing isn't terribly interesting. I normally leave it off. If you're interested, you're welcome to give us a call, and we can give you a discussion of what statistics are available there. You just click on Submit, and it has created a column, and if we scroll all the way to the right, it shows up right there. Now, obviously, I don't have any student data to work with here, but you would manually enter participation grades for that student. So that's how you add a column, and that's a pretty brief look at the Grade Center.